Bet. Hold on. Surely I can put this on. I'm actually pretty mad now. I got like another whole screen full. Okay, doesn't matter. Point is, we are starting. What's good, peeps? We are here. This is an interview with Anthony Sanchez, man from the US, a man 6 years into trading. I met him online, and he's currently living life. So quickly, I'm gonna share this, and right here is Anthony Sanchez. With this in the background, I'll be doing some looking at the trades, but I'll also be asking him some great questions in depth to how we got to where he is now and just the whole journey. We'll make it quick, only 30 minutes. Hit that like and subscribe. Let's get to it. All right, so for sure. So Anthony Sanchez with this, also known as Eros. Come on now. With this indeed. I already lost my question, but it doesn't even matter. What got you into trading?
My brother did when I was like 16 years old. So when I was 16 years old, my brother was trading with IML. So I don't know if you guys heard of that. They usually just make money off recruiting people, not actually trading. And then 2 months later, my brother had quit, and I just continued learning from different sources on YouTube.
Okay, so that's crazy. Okay, well, with this, were you just trash when you started, or just kind of decent?
I was trash, man. I mean, I had beginner's luck. So the first few, maybe like 2-3 weeks, two weeks, I was like making money, on the live account. I was like, oh man, I made $5, I made $6, and I really thought I had the hang of it. So I was like, this is gonna be easy money. And then after that, I started having losing trades, and I started revenge trading, and I was just blowing accounts back to back.
Okay, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that's everyone's sort of start. I mean, that was sort of mine as well. I'm obviously still going through the journey. But with this then, what was the moment you were like, yeah, okay, this is actually like the way for me?
Yeah, so that was like my second or third year. Like when I started going I knew I had the skill set and everything, but it wasn't until like my second or third year in when I was like, okay, I need to take this serious, and this is really for me, because most people quit after like a month or 3 months. And so if I was already 2 years in, 3 years in, I was like, okay, this is for me,
Okay, crazy. That's great. I mean, turning into, moving into getting into the struggles, just everyone relates to in terms of what messed you up the most in the beginning of your trading journey.
For sure, thinking of it in terms of profit. I wasn't thinking of it long term. I was just like, man, I can make this much money fast, and revenge trading.
Damn. Okay. Well, was there ever a time you actually thought about quitting?
I would say probably every other month. Every other month, I was kind of like,
God damn. God.
I was like, man, this is too much mentally.
Okay. What was the one lesson that you just finally slapped sense into?
It was revenge trading. So I learned that revenge trading from my own experience. It can be from a lot of things. It can be like lack of self-control. So like, let's say if you're somebody who wants control in your life, like whether it's relationship or health-wise or anything, you're going to likely have trouble with taking a loss. And there's more other reasons for it. It could be also like you're focused on the percentage. So like if you have a 70% win rate, that means you need to lose 30% of the time to have that 70% win rate. But when you take the loss, you think, man, I should be having a 70% win rate, so you're going to be focused on I should be winning. When in reality, you should think of, man, like this loss is probably 30% that I need to have so that I can have that 70% win rate, if that makes sense.
Okay, crazy. That's some knowledge right there for everybody right there. Okay, it's sliding into the mindset without, sounding like a guru. What changed in your head that made you stop taking dumb trades?
Honestly, just reevaluating my life. I was kind of like in this pattern of keep blowing accounts, keep making the same mistakes, and I kept telling myself like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm learning. It takes time. I'm going to become a profitable trader."
Mm.
And the thing that shifted was thinking that I was a profitable trader. So I used to say I'm becoming one. When people would ask me how am I doing in trading, I'm like I'm becoming a profitable trader. I'm working towards it. And in reality, it's all you have to do is change your mindset to think that I'm already that. I'm gonna wake up every day and do these little chores and walk around the house or whatever that I always slack on. I'm gonna become disciplined because it is just a choice. It's simply the fact like, hey, look, I'm gonna take this trade, and if I lose, I just stop. If you keep saying I'm going to keep working towards stopping, it's like you don't even believe it yourself, You have to just know that you are that trader, and eventually you just start to align with it. You cannot wait for your environment to kind of like shape you. You have to shape your inside ritual with like in your environment. If that makes sense.
Okay, I understand that. This is getting juicy now. This is getting juicy. Okay. So with this right here, okay, in terms of that, what would you say in terms of FOMO? Is how do you deal with greed or FOMO when the charts look juicy?
Okay, so how do I deal with greed or FOMO?
Yeah.
So one thing people do is turn off like the P&L button, so it just shows how many ticks you're up, and then you just target a high or low, whatever you're going to target. But I know most people like to see the numbers. So help me with like fear of missing out. It's just knowing that look, I have a model that I've traded and back tested thousands of times. Like literally thousands of times. So I know that it's gonna happen. Like every week, I know it's gonna happen. So if I miss a day, to me, it doesn't mean anything because I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen again the next day and all this stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, in terms of greed, that one you have to kind of fix on your own, which is kind of like a self-reflection on why do you feel the need to be greedy. Why is, like, for example, when I was trading on a smaller account, I was making like $300 per trade, and when I started moving up, I was making like anywhere from 800 to 1.5 thousand per trade, and it kind of seemed like it wasn't enough anymore. I was like, man, I need to move up so I can make more and more. And that's when you need to slow down. That's when you need to realize, like, hey, look, I'm only working for like an hour, and I'm making 800 to 1,000 in an hour. And you have to kind of humble yourself and realize how is everybody else doing? What are they doing? They're working for an hour to make, $16, $23 an hour, and you're not putting in that much effort in terms of physicality. So you kind of have to humble yourself a lot, and just be grateful and remember where you started from.
Okay, powerful words right there. God damn. Okay, so in terms of this then, what keeps you calm when you're actually on a losing streak?
When I'm on a losing streak, what keeps me calm? Good question. It goes back to that win rate. Like my win rate is 80 to 85 consistently. It stays from there. So when I'm on a losing streak, I keep an account of this holiday month, right? For example, December or the holidays, and this end of the year just holidays. So it's like I keep in mind what month are we in. If I'm starting to take losing streaks, I need to drop my risk. I drop my risk, and that way, if I lose like $100 or $50, it doesn't bother me because that's a little bit compared to how much I risk. So staying calm is dropping the risk and just acknowledging that, look, my win rate is proof that it works. And there's going to be times where it might kind of fall back a little bit. But majority of the time, I know that my win rate is 80 to 85. So that's enough for me to stay confident in my skill set.
Okay, crazy. That sounds okay. So in terms of your strategy then, how would you describe your trading style in your own words?
Oh, it's just purely manipulation and liquidity based. So every single entry I take is based off of a reversal, and every single confirmation I'm looking for is based off of a reversal as well. So my whole model is just based off of taking liquidity and catching the reversal move from the top.
Yeah, okay. In terms of this, is it more so like the adding in the 20%, 0.2% deviation, or is it also completely different in terms of it's a certain time, if prices are aligned with like the 4 hour, and it's just everything's lining up with FVG. I don't even know, but ICT sort of thing.
Yeah, so I do trade ICT. So my motto is pretty much look for a liquidity sweep. And once I see a liquidity sweep, I need to look for another confirmation, which can be S&P divergence or a higher time frame PD rate, which just basically means like price could be taken out buy side liquidity, but it's trading into like a fair value gap. So then that's two confirmations right there that price could reverse. And then I drop to a lower time frame. And I look for one of my entries, which is a breaker block, BPR, and a inversion fair value gap. And then I just execute off that.
Yeah, okay. And okay, so these are just coming into what kind of the setups that you are hunting for within the futures.
Yes, so it's I look on the 1 hour time frame or 15-minute for confirmation. I need 2 out of the 3 confirmations, either one on the 1 hour or one on the 15, or both on one time frame. But I look for the confirmations on the 1 hour and the 15-minute, and once I find 2 or 3, I drop into a lower time frame, and now I start looking for my entries, which I have 3 that I can take, but I only need 1.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. And in terms of that, what makes you say nah, just not touching that setup? If it looks like it's matching up, but you just still don't take it.
Yeah, so that's going to come down to experience and intuition. There's sometimes where things follow my rules, but I just know the market's being choppy. Even though it's going to my target, I know, okay, look, the market is going to my targets often, but it's bouncing around in my entry too much and sometimes wicks out of it and then goes to my favor. When I see things like that, I do not even try to attempt to trade it because I might get wicked out and then go in my favor. And I'm trying to take the best trades, not just hoping that it won't wick me out and then go in my favor. That would be like gambling.
Okay, no worries. Okay, in terms of this, then, just pulling the curtain on your routine. What's your day like? What does your day look like before you even just touch the tops?
Okay, yeah. So I'll wake up at around 6 in the morning. I'll get up, drink some water, anything like that, or eat a little snack. I get to my charts by 6:30, and I start marking them up. But I don't take a trade until 6:50 to 7:10. So in that time zone is when I actually physically take a trade from 6:50 to 7:10, and I'll close it by like 7:50, and that's it. My day ends like that.
Okay, is that a small? If I heard that correctly, it's pretty much a small window for where.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Yeah, okay, no worries. And in terms of this, just how often are you actually trading? Like in terms of weekly?
So I look at the charts every day, but I'm able to catch at least 3 trades per week.
All right, that's pretty nice. Not too bad. And just in terms of this, do you overtrade or you get do you get locked down now in terms of, do you ever overtrade?
No, I don't overtrade. So the way I handle this is like my model is so specific that I need to see the 2 out of the 3 confirmations before I can start looking for a trade. If I don't see that, then I don't trade. If I see that, and then I can start looking for entry. Once I take the entry, that's it. I just put my stop loss and take profit, and then I walk away, and I'll check later in the day if I hit win or loss. So it's only 1 trade per day.
Yeah, okay. Does it ever move past 1 trade per day? Or is it sometimes where, let's just say, setup's good, and you take a sell, it hits you out, but it's still respecting that area? Would you take another trade, or is it more so just done?
I think once it hits take profit or stop loss, I usually just stop. But if I know I'm not going to wake up the next day, like early in the morning, I'll trade at night. I'll trade the same day at night.
Yeah, okay.
So that I don't have to wake up in the morning.
Okay. All right then. And in terms of this, just pulling the curtain, in terms of this, just talking obviously about winning and losing, what does a win feel like for you now compared to when you started?
Oh yeah, compared to when I started, I was always like so hyped about it. I was like, oh man, like I'm right. Like I predicted this. You get the adrenaline rush of knowing that you can predict something that people say is gambling, right? And you're just like, I predicted it right to the point. That's how it used to feel, but now it's like when it happens, it just happens, you know? Like, you just take the trade and it's take profit, and you're just like, okay, I made 800 or 1,000 today, and you don't feel excitement anymore, or you don't really feel anything. You just know that it's adding up to build your account bigger, and that's just about it. No excitement. But of course, the payouts every time they come, it's not excitement anymore, but it's more so like, um, it's a nice feeling of knowing that like this is really your life now.
God.
Comfortability, you get comfortable really quick.
I mean, it doesn't sound good, just getting out a bit of money from the markets, which feel like a video game. So, hey, it's crazy, crazy. Okay. Anyway, how do you keep yourself from spiraling after a loss?
Well, that's a good question. So one of the ways is like I said, I take stop loss and take profit, and I walk away. But if I'm there looking at the chart and I see a loss, what I tend to do is I try to journal that. So once I take the loss, I try to journal it because it will distract my mind from actually looking at a trade, because I'm too busy trying to journal the day. And then once I input it, I'm like, okay, I already did this journaling work, so I'm going to go and eat or something. So I just basically don't look at the chart anymore. And another way is also, like I said, acknowledging my win percentage. I know that if I have an 80% win rate, that means 20% of the time I'm going to lose. So when I take a loss, I just acknowledge, okay, this is part of the 20% that I need so that I can reach that 80% win rate. This is the 20% loss rate that I need.
Okay.
Also, I have no attachment. Yeah, no attachment.
God damn. Sound like a robot out here. God damn.
I'll tell you this. One thing about like where people spiral too, that the issue could be that they have a belief that, let's say you win, right? You feel like you're making progress because your account is up. Now, the next day, your account gets reset back to 0, right? Because let's say you have $50,000 and then you make 1,000. So now you're up 51,000. Now the next day, it's a brand new day, right? So your P&L is like you made nothing that day. So when you trade, if you take a loss, and let's say it's only $200, you might spiral off that $200 because in your mind you have the belief that every time I win, I'm progressing, and every time I'm losing, I'm taking a step back. Which is not true at all, because overall, you cannot associate winning with progressing or progressing forward. You cannot associate losing with taking steps back, because the moment that you do that, you have too much emotion tied to winning and too much like negative experience tied with losing. So you just kind of have to see it as you're always progressing, because the losing is part of progressing, because again, you need the 20% loss rate to have the 80% win rate. So it's all just the overall progress. So that's the way you have to see it. When you're losing, it's progressing.
Okay. Well, just coming around this, what's a mistake that you just still sometimes catch yourself making?
Oh, that's trading off my phone.
Or we'll just say,
this is my.
sorry, I was about to go on to like what makes trading off your phone much different from, let's just say, on a laptop or PC, or what you usually trade.
Okay, so this is where it comes in psychology comes into play. So if you're somebody who studied on your laptop, you're at your desk, you study, you back test there, and you take trades there. Subconsciously, you know that that's a safe area, right? You're following your rules because, look, even if you follow your rules on the chart or on the phone, it doesn't mean that you are, because let's say you study all the time on your laptop, on your desk, and you're following your rules, you're journaling and all that stuff. When you trade on your phone and maybe you're in bed, subconsciously you already broke the rule of being at your desk, so now you're willing to make more mistakes. Because you're like, if you mess up one rule, you're willing to break another. That's just the way it is. It's kind of like human nature. Like, if you throw a ball and it doesn't hit something, but you're like, okay, let me throw it again. Maybe I can throw it a little bit farther this time. You start testing your boundaries. So if your brain is programmed to take trades at a desk, but then you start to trade on your phone randomly, your brain already thinks you broke a rule, which will allow you to revenge trade off your phone or just go down in a spiral a lot faster. That makes sense?
Yeah. I understand that. That's pretty crazy. Okay, in terms of this then, where do you see yourself taking trades in the next few years?
Like where at?
Yeah.
Oh, that's some question. There's a lot of places I'd like to be. Hopefully in Greece. Greece would be a nice area to be taking trades at.
Okay. Nice. Greece. Why Greece?
A lot of their stuff there is natural. They have like a lot of natural foods, no processed foods, and the sun's really good. The water's beautiful, things like that.
Okay. We're coming closer to the last few questions as well. But with this, what's something you wish every new trader understood?
How important journaling is, and that you shouldn't use a demo account until you actually have learned your model.
Okay, wait, shouldn't use a demo account or a live account?
Yep, no demo or live, not at the beginning.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because people like to use the demo, right? When they learn a model, they like to go straight into using demo. But whether you believe it or not, when you learn a model and you start to try to use it and you take an actual physical trade, now you're worried about winning, even though it's fake, because egotistically or whatever, or just you want to know that this works. You're looking at the price and if it's going to hit your target. You're not looking at what the candles are actually doing. You need to focus on what the candles are doing, and by doing that, you can't have nothing in your back of your mind or the front of your mind saying, "Look, I need to watch out for this P&L." Like you just need to focus on the actual strategy itself. So I always recommend look at the markets live and imagine in your mind where you would buy from, and then like follow that candle and how the candles are forming. How do you want to see it form? And once you can start doing this consistently, then you can start using a demo account. Because if you're trying to learn with a demo, you're still going to be worried about winning because you just want to, maybe, I don't know, show off your P&L on the demo account. So that's really important not to demo trade, at least until you've live traded in your mind without physically entering a trade.
Makes sense? Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I could have done that. Me personally, I don't even know if I could have done that. But yeah, seems like it proves great reward, especially doing that since you have to hold back on, and journaling for sure. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I mean, if you could just go back to day one, Anthony, what would you tell that version of you? That your suffering is worth it. I know everybody always says like, "Oh man, trading's so hard. I want to quit," and they just want to hurry up and learn. But the more you suffer, the better you will be at trading. I promise you, because you have more lessons to learn from, meaning that you have more mental strength and more attributes and characteristics you're going to develop. So don't be very jealous of people who learn fast. If you're suffering a lot and you know you have the capabilities of learning, then be happy that you have all this suffering because you're going to be the best. Okay. I was very jealous of people who learned fast. I was like, man, how did they learn in 1 year? And I'm already on my third, fourth year. And honestly, now most of the people I met who when I started with and they're doing well, they have like a 40 or 60% win rate. And I'm over here with a 80 to 85. And that's because I suffered so much that I was able to learn what to do, what not to do, and how to handle myself a lot better. Does that make sense? Oh, that's some deep stuff right there. Okay, in terms of learning fast then, because I would like to consider myself a bit of a fast learner for most or some things, like majority of things. But when I got into trading, that wasn't the case. I just got absolutely fucked. But point is that more so the only thing that like would you say you would consider yourself a fast learner, or was it just only like the markets where you came to a thought where it's like, you know what, maybe I take a little bit longer, but it's ultimately better? So I always believed I was a fast learner, but when it came to trading, it kind of humbled me. And like trading always shows you like what your flaws and characteristics where you're weak at. So for me, like I said, revenge trading was the biggest one because I always felt like I didn't have control in my life because I grew up very poor and moving from house to house. So every time I took a loss, I wanted to control the situation. So I would go in and try to hurry up and win it back to get control over the market, which was basically getting control over myself. I shouldn't have, but you can't do that. So in terms of your question, yeah, it's just there's a few issues that everyone's gonna have, and I did believe that I did learn fast, but like I said, when I started trading, I didn't learn as fast as I thought. I was actually a slow learner. I was very lazy in the beginning. I had partners who were learning and studying every single day, and I was only studying for a little bit. Like I was studying like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. But then once
I don't know what happened. I just suffered so much, and I was like, man, everybody's going too far ahead. I need to catch up. So I started studying for 6 hours a day. I would literally stay up all night. Like I would go to bed at 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning because I was watching a live stream that started at like 5 in the morning my time. So I did not sleep until the afternoon, and
Yeah,
I
damn.
was living with a bipolar family member, so I went to bed at like 7 and I had to wake up at 11 because she was acting, crazy.
Mm.
Like 7 is like 3 hours for like 2 or 3 years of learning. But it requires a lot of sacrifice.
God damn. Okay, shit. Okay. Sorry. This is a great way to end the live. But that was crazy knowledge at the end. Well, with this being the case, Anthony, I respect the journey. Thanks for breaking it all down. Anyone watching, there's real value in what Anthony shared. More so, we'll just catch up with you guys in the next live. Do you have anything to say to the viewers, Anthony?
Just definitely have faith in yourself. Have belief. Belief is the most important thing. And be open-minded. Be willing to learn. No matter what level somebody's at, you can always learn from somebody above you and below you. And that's it.
Okay, perfect. No worries then. Well, that being the case, guys, you have a great day. We'll catch you maybe for another future Anthony Sanchez interview on what's happened maybe in a year, 6 months, 3, 4, 5, 10. Who knows? Okay, who knows, guys? You may catch us when we're old. Who knows? Anyway, you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all later.
See you guys later. Bye.